Hello, welcome to GeoBytes, your daily roundup of news from geospatial industry. I'm your host Bhanu. For the next 15 minutes, I will bring you the news of the top developments across projects, products, policies, and businesses. California-based Rocket Lab has revealed its plans to build and operate a launch site to deliver small satellites into space. The launch site will be developed in the Canterbury region of New Zealand. It will be used to operate the company's Electron launch vehicle designed to deliver small satellites to low Earth orbit. Rocket Lab CEO Peter Beck tells that at present the waiting times for satellite launches run into years. Small companies cannot reach orbit in the required time to keep their businesses competitive. Peter says that by building this launch site, Rocket Lab wants to make space commercially accessible to everyone. What is even more interesting is that the company uses 3D printed rocket engines to put satellites into space. This reduces the mission cost considerably. For instance, one needs to spend only $4.9 million for this type of launch. Else, the price for a dedicated satellite launch system is around $133 million currently. Using 3D technology, Rocket Lab is able to print a new engine every 3 days. It plans to launch a small satellite into space every week. The launch vehicle, Electron, uses 9 Rutherford engines in its first stage and 1 in its second. It is designed to place payloads of up to 100 kilograms into orbit. The test launches will start by end of this year and commercial operations will begin next year. Let us now show you how the launch site will look like. Colorado-based Ball Aerospace and Technologies has powered on the Joint Polar Satellite System, JPSS-1 satellite for the first time. JPSS-1 is the United States' next polar orbiting environmental satellite scheduled for launch in 2017. The powering on stage is considered to be a key milestone in the delivery of a satellite because it provides insight into how the satellite will perform on the orbit. We will now take you to the folks at Ball Aerospace who will tell you more about the satellite.
So JPSS is the nation's next generation operational polar orbiting weather satellite to provide data to the meteorologists and forecasters.
Weather for the last 40 to 50 years. As a matter of fact, JPSS-1 is an evolution of the NPP spacecraft, which was launched in October.
The predictions of the weather will be more accurate and longer horizon timeline to provide better advance warnings so people can prepare.
Satellite data company Spire has raised $40 million in Series B funding. Spire is developing a constellation of weather forecasting satellites which would be the size of a shoebox. It aims to place 20 satellites into orbit by end of this year. The satellites will use a technique called GPS radio occultation. They are being programmed to deliver 5 times the amount of data currently available, collecting 10,000 readings per day as compared to the current 2,000 readings available from a collection of publicly funded weather satellites. The new investment will be used to launch more than 100 satellites by the end of 2017. The U.S. Bureau of Reclamation has chosen New Mexico State University to conduct the agency's first dam inspection using an unmanned aircraft system. The Bureau has given the university $35,000 to inspect Elephant Butte Dam in New Mexico. The research project will collect data through light detection, ranging, infrared, photogrammetry and HD video for infrastructure inspection. Researchers will keep an eye out for issues like cracks, spalls and subsurface defects. Also from the world of UAVs, Michigan's largest utility consumers energy is using an unmanned aerial vehicle to improve its service quality. The drone inspects wind turbines and above-ground utility equipment such as poles and transformers. The utility hopes that using drones instead of helicopters will result in quicker service restoration and reduce fuel cost and emissions. Senator Gary Peters, who serves on the Commerce, Science and Transportation Committee, says that he is working to ensure that more Michigan businesses can take advantage of the benefits of UAVs. We will now slip into a short break, but when we return, we will take a look at what's happening in the rest of the world.
Once again, Trimble is leading the way in positioning technology with the new Trimble R8S GNSS receiver. An entirely new way to look at receiver possibilities. Simply choose the configuration and features you require today. Then, add features as you need them tomorrow. It's the ultimate in scalability. With this innovative receiver, you tailor your system to your job, to the way you work. Choose the level of configuration that suits your needs. As your requirements change, the Trimble R8S can adapt. You simply add functionality whenever you want it. Each Trimble R8S comes standard with integrated Maxwell 6 chips, Trimble 360 tracking technology, and more. All to keep you productive and expand the reach of your GNSS system. Plus, it offers our exclusive web UI for remote monitoring and the new Trimble DL Android app for GNSS data logging. And the Trimble R8S maximizes productivity by easily integrating with the Trimble S-Series total stations and our innovative V10 imaging rover. For ultimate field efficiency, combine the Trimble R8S receiver with a Trimble controller and the intuitive Trimble Access Field software. Trust Trimble Business Center to help you edit, process, and adjust your data. It's the kind of solution you have come to expect from Trimble. We've been setting the standard in positioning technology for more than 30 years. See how we're raising the bar again with the Trimble R8S GNSS receiver.
Welcome back. Scotland has presented Japan with cutting-edge laser precision data of 4 industrial heritage sites in the vicinity of Nagasaki. All 4 sites have strong Scottish links. The 3D scanning data will be used to help conserve and manage the structures. It can also be used to provide virtual access to the sites, which include the giant cantilever crane. The crane was built in 1909 and is still being used by the Mitsubishi Group. The project was undertaken by a collaboration called Scottish 10. Tass Water, the state water and sewage services of Tasmania, is using drones to collect data for restoring a historic water storage facility. True drones have been sourced from Aerial Vision Australia. One drone is taking high-res photos to assess the condition of the Ridgeway Dam, and the other is pre-programmed to take topographical information for a 3D map. The agency affirms that in terms of budgetary impact, using UAVs is proving extremely cost-effective than people climbing up the walls. Delegates from the European Union and China have signed a collaborative research agreement in the area of remote sensing. As part of the deal, Europe's Joint Research Center and the Chinese Academy of Sciences Institute of Remote Sensing will cooperate in areas like human settlement detection, land and soil mapping, land cover mapping, digital earth sciences, and agricultural monitoring. The development took place on the sidelines of the Europe-China summit that took place in Brussels last week. The Indian government has kicked off the Digital India project, which aims to promote e-governance and transform the country into a connected knowledge economy. The vision includes leveraging GIS for decision support systems and development. As part of the project, all government services would be available in real time and from online and mobile platforms. All citizens' entitlements will also be made available on the cloud. The program aims to connect India's 250,000 villages by 2019. Europe and Middle East now have a regional headquarters of 100 resilient cities, a project pioneered by the Rockefeller Foundation. The initiative is currently a global network of 67 cities, which works with city mayors, public officials, and the private sector to address threats like terrorism, cybersecurity, infrastructure failure, and environmental challenges. The project has also announced new partnerships with AIR Worldwide and Esri. AIR Worldwide will provide member cities with catastrophe modeling services and training in catastrophe risk analysis. Esri, meanwhile, will assist the member cities in building resilience through the use of GIS, mapping, and location analysis. The African nation of Mali is seeking Uganda's help in developing a land registration system for its citizens. While visiting the country recently, Uganda's Ministry of Lands, Housing and Urban Development, Daudi Migereko, revealed that the government's revenue collection has increased by computerization of land records. Insisting that digitization of data gives updated information on ground and makes surveyors' work simpler, Migereko said that the Uganda doesn't regret having chosen to change from the manual system and put all their data on computers. That's all we have for you in GeoBytes today. Find us on www.geobiz.com and follow GeoBiz on Twitter. We will be back shortly with a GeoBuiz exclusive.
Can you tell us a little bit about Geo and what it is that you do in the organization?
We have a lot of obviously formidable competitors in the mapping space.
But saying human geo, I was like perplexed. Why the name human to the geospatial angle?
If we think about land, I mean, land is a key core to prosperity.
Thank you, Hugo, for speaking with GeoBuiz and Geospatial World. Thank you, Chris. Thanks for speaking with GeoBuiz and Geospatial World. It's always a pleasure speaking with you and understanding more and more about Trimble and its innovative approach. To start with, the byline of Trimble has been the transforming the way the world works. So how is Trimble transforming itself in the recent past so that it can cater to the changing needs of the market?
So I think if you look at Trimble historically, a lot of people have known Trimble originally as a GNSS or GPS GNSS company. And I think as you look at how we've progressed and evolved over the years, we're far more of a solutions company, systems integration company, and that's really driven by the market and the customers. And then if you look at the changes or the way we're transforming industries, whether it's the construction industry or the agriculture industry, by bringing geo-capable technologies with a lot of other integrated solutions to transform those industries and solve a lot of the customer problems.
In the recent past, what has been the trend in the innovation and catering business?
So I think innovation has continued from the GNSS perspective. There's been a lot of innovation on the total station, into laser scanning, into photogrammetry, but also now the sensor integration are starting to stitch together a number of those sensors. So you look at the capabilities of mobile mapping, and then you start to look at how you the software development, the evolution of the software, the utilization of the cloud in ways that you can now start to mash the data together. So the data can come from a variety of sensors, but then it's really how you create a seamless data flow that helps solve the customer.
In that sense, can we call Trimble is transforming itself from a positioning company to a more information technology company, which is very agnostic to a specific technology?
I think, Trimble is more than a positioning company. So, we talk about taking positioning, taking communication, and taking information to provide that solution to the customer. And really where we focus is focusing on the industries that we serve and the customers as opposed to what we call ourselves.
I recently chanced upon a press release which said that Trimble has partnered with Materialize for its 3D printing technology. Is it a new stream of business for Trimble, or it is to support the existing business line?
It's really to support the existing business line. So it'll be primarily around the Trimble buildings, but looking at some of the other industries we'll look at in terms of when you're going from the design to the constructible model, if you can start to use 3D printing capabilities to build a frame, an outlook of how the model's going to look, how the building's going to look. So it's partly there just to support the current business rather than being a new business line.
Another recent partnership has been with Microsoft for its HoloLens, which I find is quite innovative. Would you like to throw some light on that?
Well, I think the work with HoloLens really it's in its infancy. So HoloLens is a new concept.
Yeah, that's right.
We've been working with Microsoft on the concept, and we'll see how that progresses over the coming months and coming years.
At this point in time, it's still a prototype, isn't it?
HoloLens is a Microsoft product, not a Trimble
right.
product. So it's in development as a prototype. So.
What is Trimble's commitment to the emerging markets, and what are your plans going forward?
So I think Trimble sees significant opportunities in whether it's India, Brazil, China, Africa, and our challenge is ensuring that the offerings we have meet the needs of the customer, that we can take a generic offering but then localize it to the market needs. So what do we need to be successful in agriculture in Africa? What do we need to be successful in construction in India? Understanding the needs of the customer, the benefits we bring to the marketplace, and then positioning those with the customer set. So I think our objective out of the changes is really to get the focus and the execution into continuing to develop our presence in the market in the emerging countries.
I see that Trimble has a direct presence in many of these emerging markets, but at the same time it continues to work with its partners and resellers as well. What are the evolving business models for this regions?
I think it's going to be a combination of having direct contact with the customers and direct sales and utilising the distribution partners. We utilise our distribution partners, they're skilled, they know their domain, they have a lot of capabilities, and they develop strong relationships with the customers. And then more at the executive level or with government organisations, Trimble can provide and reinforce the message into the marketplace. And so we work hand in hand in terms of how we address the market and how we fulfil the customer needs at the end of the day.
Traditionally, Trimble has done several technology acquisitions, but there has never been an acquisition to consolidate its market position. Why has been that, and do you see any change in that stance?
Well, I think our acquisition strategy is based around a couple of fundamental principles. One is and it's based around the industries we focus on, the businesses we have today. So it really is how to, do we either provide we have a gap in the portfolio and an acquisition helps us fill that gap, or we find an adjacency to a market we're working in today and the acquisition helps us get into that adjacency. And occasionally we see it provides us a beachhead into a new market. But the vast majority of the acquisitions really are focused on industries we're playing in today that we know very well, and this helps us get a greater strength and presence in those particular industries.
So you do not believe in acquiring companies for market consolidation?
I think, again, we focus on the industry, so that's where we spend our time and effort on the acquisitions, and I think that we can be defined in various ways, but the reality is what do we need to do to solve that customer problem. So if we're missing something and somebody has a solution that would add to what we provide, then yes, we would go and acquire that opportunity if it's there.
Because one of the trends we see in geospatial industry these days is acquiring complementing technologies. Definitely in the vertical strategies, I do see Trimble doing those kind of acquisitions to build a complete solution. But is that something that Trimble is looking in the geospatial space as well?
Well, I think if you look at what we've done in the geospatial space over the last couple of years, we acquired Ashtec because it provided a complementary set of products in a certain space in the marketplace. We acquired Gatewing from a UAS perspective as a way of adding that capability to the portfolio. So again, it comes down to, from the geospatial perspective, if there's organisations out there where their solution is going to provide value to complementary to what we have, then we would take a look at it potentially.
Hi, my name's Alastair Hart. I work for Core Group. We're software publishers and produce an innovative Android mapping app that provides a platform to enable visualization and editing of your field data. It allows people to do quick, fast and accurate field data collection. So I come from a background of working within the public service, and I've had 20 years in the geospatial industry. As someone that created one of the world's first GIS outbreak systems for dengue fever, a mosquito-borne disease, I came to know mobile mapping technology very well. And I've carried that through my subsequent work, enabling responses to disaster management and wildfire mitigation, and I've subsequently worked in asset management and local and state government administration. After working with spatial and mobile mapping technologies for the last 2 decades, I've embraced the values of MAPT and began to use it in my own technical workflows. And after several years of loving and using MAPT and promoting its use by others, Core Group approached me to be their product evangelist. So I now attend events around the world and promote the value of our product to the global geospatial community. So MAPT itself is an innovative Android mapping app that supports field data mapping and allows you to do that quickly, simply and accurately. It's a very intuitive Google Maps based interface, operates completely offline and has a very low barrier to entry. It's data agnostic, so it can import KML and shape files, and it can also import raster imagery, ECW and JP2 format, and in the professional version you can download that imagery into your tablet and consume it in MAPT at an unlimited size, limited really just by the storage capability of your tablet device. MAPT allows GPS tracking, geofencing, geotagged imagery, and it's particularly suitable for the geospatial intelligence community because of its ability to operate completely offline. The Core Group itself that publishes MAPT also publishes other mobile software, including an app called Kajai that allows people to pop their moments on the map, and that's an iOS product that we're working on. Core Group's currently listing on the Australian Stock Exchange, and coming over here is part of our push for international growth. The MAP product itself has been downloaded thousands of times across 83 countries in the world, and we're seeing users extend from the geointelligence and military establishment right through asset management, municipal and state government, environmental management agencies, all the way out into the community where we have conservation groups using our software for citizen science and community advocacy. So I think that really underscores the democratisation of our app in that it is very simple, so we're out there democratising and disrupting the spatial industry. So MAP doesn't lock right down into you don't have to buy a desktop software that's a conduit into our mobile mapping app. You can just buy the mobile mapping app and bring your own software right into it and push that software out the other end. And you can export it onto your local tablet, you can export it to your laptop, but you can also push that straight back up onto Google Drive or integrate it into Dropbox or any other number of online data management services. So it's a very flexible software, and as I said before, it's very easy to use. In terms of the GeoInt conference, it's actually the biggest convention that I've been to in my 20-year career in the geospatial industry. And I've really enjoyed it. There's a bunch of great folks here, and we've received heaps of great feedback about our product. Lots of people are really interested in what we're doing, and they've really validated our own understanding that there's nothing else like it on the market. And as a consequence, we've had a lot of interest from both participants and other exhibitors in our product in terms of partnering with us, integrating with our product, and consuming our product in the field. So we're seeing some really great opportunities come out of this event. And at the same time, we're also learning a lot more about the industry and how we can tailor our product to be more applicable to the industry, and getting a lot of feedback from the community about how they can see our product becoming increasingly relevant to them with some minor changes. Overall, we've been left with a very strong impression of the organisation of the industry and the strength of the USGIF organisation, and we certainly look forward to being a part of this community in the future. It's a thrill to be here. Thank you.